Hey, my name is Kara. I'm an ultrasound tech, and let's talk today about the safety of ultrasound. Now, I do have a few other videos underneath my safety of ultrasound playlist, but this question does come up pretty regularly underneath my comments and whatnot, just questioning either the safety of ultrasound or saying that there are no known risks for ultrasound. So I thought I would go ahead and address it again. So the be all end all is that in the way that we are using ultrasound, as in we are using it when it is medically necessary and when it is ordered by a doctor, there have been no proven side effects. So in all the studies that they have done, there really haven't been any sort of negative side effects with ultrasound. But at the same time, we do still limit babies' exposure to ultrasound because we know what it can do to tissues, as in what it is actually even doing to tissues. Ultrasound in itself is going to be heating up the tissues, and if you're using things such as power Doppler, it is going to be heating up the tissues further. Now, because of ethics, we obviously can't just go ahead and have a control group that is getting the regular amount of ultrasounds and then have a test group that is getting a ridiculous amount of ultrasounds. Like, I'm talking daily ultrasounds on baby just to see what kind of effects that has. But there have been studies where they go ahead and study lab rats and they expose them to a bunch of ultrasound, and the babies do end up having birth defects or miscarriages, etc., because of the exposure from the heat of the ultrasound. But this has obviously not been tested in humans for, again, ethical reasons. But in the way that we are using ultrasound for today's use, it has been proven to be safe and there have been no known side effects. So, this is definitely true in what this person's comment is saying. That being said, though, we are still limiting our exposure for sure with ultrasound. So it's not like we want to go ahead and order a bunch of ultrasounds or that we recommend going to entertainment clinics because this is going to increase babies' exposure to ultrasound. And because we don't know the limit for which exposure is going to actually turn harmful for baby with ultrasound or even harmful for mom, we are not going to do more than what we believe is medically necessary. Now, this comment was also in response to me saying to another commenter that we only do 2 to 3 regular ultrasounds in Canada routinely, and they were saying that in their country they do one every 4 weeks. And I basically said, well, we don't do that because we want to limit exposure to ultrasound. Now, for those that have gone to entertainment clinics or are high risk and have gotten scanned, the benefits definitely outweigh the risks for high risk pregnancies for monitoring with ultrasound. So, obviously, they want to go ahead and monitor those pregnancies closely. Therefore, more scans are ordered. And again, these scans have not been proven to cause any sort of harm to baby. But on the whole entertainment clinic side of things, that's like a whole nother story. I do have a video on that as well, just with these entertainment 3D clinics and why we as medical sonographers don't really recommend them. But in the end, I think it is also true what this commenter was saying about how it is also a safety issue. So basically, even though this comment is saying we don't do as many ultrasounds because it is more of a money cost related issue versus a safety issue, it's actually both. So we not only want to limit babies' exposure to ultrasound because we don't actually know the long-term effects of ultrasound when it is not used in a medically necessary way. So we obviously want to limit that exposure as much as possible if it's not necessary. But of course, it is also a cost related thing as well. It wouldn't be feasible for our structure of healthcare, anyways, in Canada, where we do have universal healthcare, to be scanning everyone willy nilly as much as we wanted to, because that would cost a lot. But at the same time, I also don't think it is just a cost related issue because it was only about 10 years ago that women routinely only got a anatomy scan done, as in just the 20-week ultrasound. And it was only about 7-ish years, I think. Yeah, I think it was 7-ish years ago that we started routinely doing the dating ultrasounds as well as offering the 12-week nuchal ultrasound to all mums, not just ones that are high risk. So, either way, it is twofold in the fact that it is not only just cost related that we don't go ahead and do ultrasounds all the time on all mums. And we definitely are trying to limit babies' exposure, though, to ultrasound because we don't actually know where that safety threshold is. as ultrasound actually does increase the heat into baby, and obviously we want to go ahead and limit that as much as possible in order to reduce harm to mom and baby. And we are always going to operate under the ALARA principles as registered sonographers, as in we are always going to try and do the exam with the power output that is as low as reasonably achievable to again limit that exposure and limit any sort of potential harm that the ultrasound could cause.